Okay, move forward to next question. So how can I understand meditation spectrum with so many methods out there? And again, sorry for the typo. Um, I guess I wanted to know how can I improve my understanding of meditation spectrum with so many methods out there. And the other question related to that might be, so how can I simplify my understanding of meditation techniques, because there's so many, or which method is superior, or do I need to have a guru? Can I do meditation on my own? Um, Sharon asked, when it fits into the presentation, can you describe how you meditate? Do you get a different level of consciousness? And if so, how do you come back? Yes, we are going to discuss that, Sharon, a little later on. How do we meditate? Or how do I meditate? If you, I don't know if you wanted to the talk of my personal meditation thing or in general, but I can address that. So the other thing that we are trying to address in this question is, do I need a guru or I can meditate on my own? Does it advisable? I mean, is it advisable to have a guru, or I can make the same progress without a guru? And guru is a master. Is actually a Hindi word, so I don't know if everyone understands that. Now it's part of English dictionary, but it translates to a master. So, do I need to have a master or someone expert to do meditation? Because many a times when you go through meditation schools, meditation centers, they insist on you being a disciple or taking membership, a new name for that. The in older days, I think my days, I would say, we used to call it disciple, a student. Now we call a member, a paid membership, subscription. Same wine in different bottle, you would say. So, do you really need to have a guru or a master? Do you need to have subscription, a paid membership somewhere? Let me, before going into detail, let me just say one thing. Me personally, stay away from all the people who are selling meditation, selling goodness, selling humanity, or how to become better. Because this is a universal knowledge that should be available to everyone. If someone is trying to make a business out of it, I stay away from those people. And I would advise with some caution, when you take membership in meditation groups or have subscription, the understanding should be really clear. While they are making you learn meditation, they also have to focus on business. And unless someone out there is really, really balanced, who's focused on you as opposed to also having a business, unless you have someone like that, you will not be able to make desired progress or as fast of progress as you could otherwise. So just remember that. And how we can do things is something that we can see little later on. So understanding the meditation spectrum, all the techniques that you see in the world, everywhere, no matter a billion people talk about, or 6 billion people, or 7 billion entire population talking about it, would roughly translate into these three. A funnel, meditation funnel that I talk about, typically refer, is observation, contemplation, concentration. This is what we try to do in general. Taking a comment from Karen. Thank you, Vikas, such an enlightened presentation and advice. I'm sad to miss the rest and would love to replay if possible. Yes, you will be able to get it on YouTube channel. So that's the advantage of creating this YouTube channel where we are able to go through the sessions that we missed, any key outcomes that we missed. And I know, Karen, you have to go early, so we can always catch back on later on. But coming to meditation, if you have to understand the spectrum, just remember three things: observation, contemplation, concentration. And typically, even if you go in a sequence, the sequence happens typically in contemplation, observation, or concentration mode, or the observation, contemplation, and concentration mode, typically. So either you observe something, you contemplate and you concentrate, or you contemplate and you observe and you concentrate. The sequence of thoughts. So if all the techniques are related to these three methods, you would see. Just remember these three things, and whenever you look at the technique, you will know that it relates to one of these. And again, in my humble opinion, I'm not saying I'm the world guru or I'm the best expert on meditation. It is, I realize in my meditation practice, like I said, you get help from other world. I'm not going to blame them if you see if it is wrong understanding, but I really see the way it is, and that is how I'm as honestly trying to describe. When we look deeper in contemplation, observation, and concentration, by the way, I try to use the word contemplative, observative, and concentrative meditation. Observative or concentrative is not a word that people use as much, or observative as well. It used to be used in the classical language in 60s, 70s, I guess early 80s or something. It is stopped now, but I like to use this term observative as opposed to observation. So if you have to define in three states, that would be contemplative, observative, and concentrative. That's the meditative state. And when you are able to do that, no matter what technique you follow, you are able to come to a meditative state. Whether whether you are able to do that many times, one time, repeatedly, shorter or longer, the idea of doing the funnel or all the techniques going through the funnel of three ways, which is contemplation, observation, and concentration, is to go to meditative state. That is what you're trying to do. That is the level 2 of that, and which is where the realization comes. Some of the techniques that we can talk about in each of these, and we're going to look at the types of meditation as well, and you would see each of them somehow relate to these or this funnel. Contemplative meditation could be a reflection. You reflect on many things or anything, take a topic, reflect on that, go deeper and deeper, peel layers of that. Another technique of reflection is asking why. As I quite often say, ask why 9 times. Because when you ask why 9 times, you get to go deeper. You are able to go to the bottom layer of things. Having said that, I would also want to say that when we are saying ask why, would we always get the right answer for why? Initially, you would not. So 9 layer may not help you. Maybe you have to go to 11 or 13 or even 15. Or maybe you will go like merry-go-round, where your mind will play mental games with you and you go in circles. So the answers that you're getting, you have to really evaluate. But if you really think deeply and only on that topic, without letting any of your experience, understanding, or outside surrounding impacting you, you will see that you probably won't even have to reach 9 whys. You will reach why, um, the bottom of something within, say, 1 or 2 whys. And the idea of asking why, contemplative meditation is, you reduce your number of whys in getting to the bottom of something. The perfect example of asking why, or rather I'll talk about him in later on, but in physical world, if I talk about, Toyota is one example, where they say you ask why 7 times, 8 times, and you will get into something. You will understand why it is important. Many businesses follow that. They try to find out why this is as important by getting deeper. Another contemplative technique that you can use is as if. Imagine as if you do something, start with that as if if I do something like this as opposed to doing thing, what will happen, what might happen. That will be contemplation. And when you're doing contemplation, please remember one thing is the pitfalls of contemplation. Mind is really good in stringing. So Diana mentioned she also has to leave. I'll catch up the rest presentation on YouTube. Okay, thanks, Diana. Um, and apologies that we are going a little slow because I want to do justice, and there are many things that we want to discuss. And unless we discuss all, even though you will have some takeaways, it will not be a logical conclusion that I wanted to give you. So that is why I'm taking time and giving as many slides, like at least 8 questions that we can answer. So when you do contemplation, please remember that a mind is really good in creating strings, adding more strings, or take you from one direction to another direction. The contemplative meditation is actually a practice where you stay on one particular thought process and not go into other thought process. Thanks, Karen. I know you have to go early, so I'll see you a little later on. So coming back to contemplation, just remember, we have to stay on one thought process. When you go into many thoughts or a series of thought, that is not contemplation. From contemplation, you go into an imagination or imaginative world, which is the strong point of mind, where mind keeps you occupied by thinking, by giving you many thoughts. And if you do that, that is not a meditative state. Someone thinking is not a meditative state or meditation. You keeping your focus on one line of thought, one line of inquiry is contemplation. So as if is another technique. Changing your hat, changing your shoes. Think you are in a different scenario. Think you have a completely different thing than you currently have. What will you do? It is kind of an extension of as if. But think from different people perspective. If you are in someone else's shoes, what would you do? For example, if you were God, what will you do? How would you run this world? Maybe you will have far more greater understanding of God or Creator, because you will see so many things that are there that we don't see. We just only talk about 7.3 billion or 8 billion people, which is just humans. How about other things? The planet, the entire life, the other species, the insects, the birds, the animals, the plants, the air, the planets, the stars. And if you have to come up with something, some mechanism to run the entire universe, how would you do that? Fascinating stuff. It opens your mind quite a lot. Or other way of contemplation is, who am I? This is something where I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but in India there was a sage. His name is or was Ramana Maharshi. He's really famous. He is believed to have someone who got an enlightenment, like Buddha. He is considered God in India, in many places, not entire India, but many places. And he followed this technique of getting to enlightenment of who am I. He just asking himself, who am I, to really know who he is. And when he was able to do that, he was able to get to enlightenment. Do we all have to do that? Yes, if contemplation is your way of doing, yes, by all means, go do that. But remember this, any of the technique that you follow, if you stick to that, go deeper and deeper, deeper, you will go there. In, I guess, some religion, there's a saying, and which is very true. And again, I don't want to make it sound like a religious thing, but it is a universally true thing. No matter what road you take, it leads to God. I would say no matter what road you take, what technique you take, it leads to realization. Coming to observative methods, watching your thought patterns. Observative method is basically where you observe. You increase your observation, and by increasing observation, your understanding, eventually helping you reach the realization. So, watching your thought process is one way where you watch the kind of thought you get, why you get those thoughts, and you get deeper and deeper and deeper. Initial level, you will understand that you have a pattern of thoughts that you get and what they make you do, what they make you feel. And with each level of understanding, each layer that you unfold, you will see that you will have more light coming to you, more understanding coming to you, even by just watching thoughts or your emotion patterns, why you feel differently or same, or the way you feel for a certain things, what actually happens. If you observe your emotions, you'll be able to realize quite a lot of things. The cause and effect, relationship of thoughts. Some thought making you do things differently, feel differently, react differently. So that is another thing you can observe, the cause and effect of your thoughts or body response to your thought. Many times we get chills. Many times our body um, expands or what do you say? I'm not getting the right word. Um, shrinks, maybe, based on what we are thinking. why do we become fearful of something? And if it just a thought, why our body responding to that? Why do we become so careful when we go to a dark place in night, thinking anything bad can happen? Do we walk as confidently? Does our body react the same way as it would when you're walking in a park on a nice, sunny, bright day? No. So your body response to thought is something that you can also observe. And going to the final pillar or final aspect of meditation, which is concentration, which is being talked quite highly and talked mostly by many people. Focusing on your breath. There's a very famous meditation technique called Vipassana. Gautam Buddha, by the way, used this, focusing on breath, and he was able to reach enlightenment. Lord Buddha, as you know it. So focusing on breath, just seeing your breath going out, in and out, you can concentrate that. That is something that you can use. You can focus on a body part. Many a times we focus on, they say third eye, people say third eye meditation, think on that, focus on this part. You can actually uh, do the concentration on body parts, different body parts, and you would feel differently once you start doing that. You will be able to understand your body a little better, or much better rather, I would say. There are different mudras you might have heard of. Mudras are basically some what do you say, postures that you can use when you want to concentrate, when you want to contemplate, you want to focus on knowledge, you want to focus on a specific connection, basically. So there are different mudras that you can follow. Same is body object balancing. Concentration can happen based on when you have to balance either your body or object. Some people you would find do meditation on one leg. They want to concentrate based on their body because of this sequence, that body has to be supported by mind. So if body is doing something, mind has to come there. So if you stand on one leg, your mind has to come there. Think about how you're gonna maintain balance, or make you realize, oh, it's spinning, now you're gonna fall, so keep your other leg down, and thing like that. So that is something that many people use. Kundalini yoga, the another one on concentration. Many people use that. I guess some people call it plexus meditation, but chakra meditation is another name of it. When you focus on 7 different chakras. So that is another method of concentrative meditation. Going further, how can I simply understand the various types of meditation? This is basically the types of meditation. So we are going to just talk about what are various types. And I'm seeing there's any comment here.